This week's episode of Let's Talk is dedicated to those children and teenagers out there suffering with mental health, their parents who are at their wits' end trying to help them, and to the schools and communities who are doing their best to help encourage safe environments, safe learning environments, and happy living amongst their students. Hey guys, welcome to Let's Talk. It's me, it's Jake. How you going? How's your week been? Let me know in the comments below. As you guys have probably noticed, I'm trying out a few different new camera angles this week. I'm messing with some lighting. So this episode is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to, but I will try my very best to still deliver the goods. This week, I really wanted to cover a topic that is very close to my heart, and that is mental health in children and teenagers. I know as a future teacher that schools are definitely encouraging talking about mental health in the classroom. They're encouraging strengthening communication between parents, between students. They are also providing outlets and guidance to parents now for kids whose mental health is beyond that of just the school counsellor. Now, when we look at mental health in children, the biggest thing that is often brought up is some sort of trauma. Now, I'm not saying that every child goes through trauma. That would be horrible. That would be so horrible if that were a thing. But what I'm saying is that there are kids in your classroom at home who will be suffering with mental health, and parents and teachers, they don't know initially. There are a lot of reasons why children and students can deal with end up with mental health issues, I should say. It can be anything from a less than viable living environment to little Johnny has the wrong idea about the teacher, or Mr. or Mrs. such and such, they don't like me very much, I'm going to fail. To obviously those darker instances that can occur at home or so forth. I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to go too much into a topic that I don't know a whole lot about, but I do know that as someone who suffered with mental health right from the age of about 13, I know that there big changes. Big changes can cause mental health issues. I think for me as a kid, there was a number of things that happened. My grandfather passed away when I was quite young, and he was my best friend. And the amount of different therapies, different just different tricks and stuff, things that my parents tried to really help me get through that not all of them worked, but there was definitely times where I really wish that I had somebody more that I could talk to, and it wasn't that I couldn't talk to my parents, it's just I didn't have the skills to do that, and that's what I want to talk about this week, is giving your kids, giving your teenagers the skills that they need in order to be able to effectively communicate how they're thinking and feeling. Because we as parents, we as caregivers, we as teachers, even we as friends, we're not going to be able to help somebody who is suffering with mental health, especially at such a young age, if they don't have the skills. So what I want to start with, guys, is I want to start with parent-child communication, okay? Now, I have a fantastic mother. My mum and I, we talk about everything. We talk about anything. We have the hard conversations. We yell and scream at each other. But we love each other. And because I was taught, just talk about things, Jake. Just, even if it's scary, just talk about it. that was something that my mum encouraged very much when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, I was definitely not as brave or as open as I am now. I'm going to freely admit that. I I lied a lot. I kind of just told my parents what they wanted to hear so that I didn't disappoint them, didn't upset them. So it took a lot for my mum to draw the truth out of me, and she was very, very good at it. And so I attribute my ability to draw the truth and draw how people are feeling out of them from the techniques and the things that I experienced as a kid through my mum. And so I think it's really important that as a parent or as a teacher, etc., that you are able to give, you are the one that engages with the child immediately, or makes that first contact, and be the one that says, this is a safe space. What you tell me, it's not going to leave us. It's important that you build up that rapport, but you have to know who you are dealing with as well, and you need to know them quite well to build up that rapport. And ideally, as parents, you guys are going to know, what your kid is like. You're going to be able to know their body language, whether they're lying or they're just saying what you want them to hear. I really think that is definitely important that communication begins at home, because if you are breeding a positive environment at home for communicating how you feel, for telling others how you feel, that is going to translate over into the rest of your life. So kids are very attuned to that. If they are comfortable talking to a specific gender, for example, they are going to be far more likely to open up to someone of that gender than somebody opposed. I once asked my dad. I said to Dad, Dad, I'm starting to think that there's a few girls around school that I like. I was, but I just don't know how to talk to them. And he says to me, he says, well, what's the problem? I said, I just don't know how to talk to him, Jake. And he turns to me and he says, Jake, there's only 3 things you got to do when talking to a girl, okay? First of all, make them smile, make them laugh, and then grab their phone number before they realize how ugly you are, okay? Now, I was 12, okay? But even just something like that, something that made me laugh, instantly made it a lot easier for me to talk to girls. And I feel like, there are, each parent has their own tips and tricks for allowing their kids to break down those barriers and not feel so awkward about talking to people and those kinds of situations. And from there, you can move to the classroom. And I know this is very common in high school, especially. As we get older, we tend to lash out. We tend to, rebel a little bit. And teachers they're going to either make one of 2 choices, because the teaching has changed. We take a more gentle approach now, whereas in the old days, and even now, there are still a lot of teachers that go, oh, that kid's trouble. And at the end of the day, if a kid is acting out, it's because there's a problem. And I think it's important as parents that you go in and you speak with your teachers and you build your rapport with them, because they are the ones that see your child outside of the home environment for 75% of the day. Okay. Now I'm not saying that there are heaps of bad teachers out there or that there are heaps of bad parents. What I'm saying is as a parent who has a child that suffers with mental health issues and they don't know what to do about it, you need to explore every avenue possible. Okay. And your teachers see your student every single day, so they can tell you, this is what triggers Jimmy. This is what annoys Vanessa. This is what upsets Lyle. And they can give you almost like a schematic of what sets off your child, because children and teenagers, they behave differently at home as they do at school. It's a vastly different environment. So it is important that you go from building that rapport with the student to building that rapport with your teacher, so that you are providing yourself with every opportunity that you can to be like, all right, so I heard this today. Let's talk about that. Like, I want to know how you feel. You need to give yourself the opportunity to open as many doors for communication, as many avenues for talking as you can. Because communication is key, and especially to mental health. Like I said, I am very fortunate. My mom, as frustrating as it was, she made me talk about everything. And I didn't appreciate how important that skill was until about 10 months ago. And that's the reality of it. Communication is everything. Communication will translate over to your child's future relationships, to their marriages, to their children, and it's a skill that gets passed on down the line. And it is important, parents, please, parents, caregivers, teachers, provide children with those opportunities to develop those communication skills where they are confident to speak about the hard topics. And to the credit of the West Australian education system, you guys are doing a fantastic job of allowing children those avenues, even if it's just a little bit. There are a lot of people out there who still find it very difficult to talk about the hard stuff, and rightly so. And you guys as teachers and as educators are you are not directly responsible for being like, oh, little Johnny's got this situation at home, we need to sort it out. No, but it is your duty of care to report those situations. And parents, it is your duty of care to make sure that you are discussing these harder issues with the correct people. So going out, finding therapists, finding psychiatrists, talking to counselors. A lot of high schools these days have counseling programs, and they don't always work, but they work for some kids. And if they're not working for your child, guys, please go and explore another avenue. Go and see a neurotherapist. Go and see a psychologist. Just what I'm saying, guys, because it is devastating to see the number of just nasty, I really don't want to say the S word, but I'm going to. Okay, guys. Suicide in children from the ages of 5 to 18 is at a ridiculous peak. If those kids had those skills they needed to communicate how they were feeling, if they had the knowledge of the avenues that they could have taken to remove themselves from certain situations, from certain people, to find the help that they need, we would still have them, guys. And like I said, as somebody that has dealt with depression, that has dealt with anxiety from the age of 13, and thank God I have a loving support network behind me while I was going through it, there's a very good chance that I may have become one of those statistics. Thankfully, I had advantages that a lot of others don't. So please, guys, please make sure that you are giving your children the skills to communicate, that you are opening the conversation, that you are providing them opportunities to talk. Allow them the chance to feel comfortable, to feel relaxed, to know that it is okay to talk about your feelings. Toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, it's not good. Let's erase that, guys. It's 2020, for Christ's sake. There is nothing that we can't talk about these days. So let's work together to make the world a better place, and let's talk more. Alright, guys, that's enough from me today. Let me know your stories down in the comments below. I'd love to hear, as always. And I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, I hope you liked that video. For more cool content, make sure to go and check out my channel. Hit like and subscribe down below. Leave some comments if you feel like it. And I'll see you in the next one. Be nice and work hard.